Gold Squad TV. So last night I was halfway asleep when I did my Celtics and Warriors recap. But I've been paying attention to some things. I kind of want to just make these things kind of known. Jason Tatum's game, although he's progressing as a scorer, it seems very predictable. Um, the reason why I say that is that a lot of times I feel like he tends to dribble himself into double teams, turns the ball over a lot. He's been doing that since his second year. He tends to do too much when trying to get the defenders off of him instead of using his natural athleticism. He dribbles at the top of the key or to the left of the top of the key and shoots step back threes. And see, I don't mind those step to the side threes he used to make last year that he hasn't even took this year. He's had a couple of those step to the side threes, the ones he hit on Atlanta and Orlando last year, those which became like a typical shot for him. I didn't mind that. But the step back threes, the dribble, 2-3 dribble, step back into the 3-point shot, I'm not liking that. It's not taking enough mid-range shots. He hit a lot of mid-range shots last year. He was really like almost like fifth in the league in mid-range makes. As much as they try to take the mid-range out the game, that's the strength of Jason Tatum. He had one bad year the second year, but for the most part, it's been a strength in Jason Tatum's game. Those one-legged 12-footers that he used to take, that he took last year and the year before and the year before that, those shots are great shots to me. They might not analytically be great shots, but they're great shots. And I feel like Brad Stevens, he's kind of making it to the point to where he's trying to erase that out of Jason's game completely. He's just trying to make him a 3-point shooter because honestly, he can't finish. He's not finishing at the rim very effectively. That's one thing that he still hasn't figured out in year 4. It's a get to the rim effectively. Like I remember his rookie year, he was cramming on dudes. He dunked. I think he dunked on Sabonis one year, his rookie year, I believe. He was cramming on dudes, man. He dunked on Turner. He dunked on He had a whole bunch of dunks his rookie year, and I felt like he was playing like a man. I feel like he's playing like an old man right now. He's scoring points. He scored 27 last night. But I'm not liking the style of play he's particularly using this year. I feel like it's just he's settling way too much. And he's dribbling way too much for my liking. We face the Kings tonight. Late night game again. Got to face the Sacramento Kings. They're a dangerous team. Got to face them in Sacramento. No Kemba Walker. Now, the example I'm trying to make is that the way Jaylen Brown plays is the way I think Jason should play. Jaylen Brown, even if he doesn't make the layup, attacks the rim, draws fouls, he hits that mid-ranger, he gets to the post, he'll hit a fadeaway every now and then, a turnaround jumper every now and then. He shoots the 3 when needed, but it's not something that he likes to do all the time. It's not Jaylen Brown's not going to shoot 6 threes in a game. He's going to give you maybe about 3 or 4. A lot like Michael Jordan in a lot of ways. Like when he throws a different game back then. Michael will give you 3 or 4. That's it. That's all I need. Kawhi today's game too. He's like that too. Kawhi, I'll give you 3 or 4 threes during the game. Everything else is mid-range into the rim because I need to draw fouls. Just smart. Get the 3-point play at the line. I know Jalen's not the best at the free throw line. He never really ever has been that great of a free throw shooter, but he's better than not. It's better than settling. I feel like Jason settles too much for my liking. He just does not work on the things like I felt like this year, more than any year, him going into this year, he did not work on the things he was supposed to work on. I felt like he worked too much on dribbling, which is what he doesn't need. We don't need you to be a show, man. We just need you to get 30 points a game, give us about 8 or 9 rebounds, and be somewhat of a playmaker. Allow Jalen to also get his and Kemba to get his. You guys are that big three. I don't see why it's a problem how you guys aren't blending in when y'all blended in last year perfectly fine. Like Kemba already came into the Celtics lineup last year and was like, yo, this is Jason's team, JB's team. He never once uttered it was his. That said, this brings me to a bigger problem now. So stars aside, Brad Stevens. I've given him the Fake the Funk award twice now. Not giving him that award today. However, I'm noticing a problem that I've been low-key noticing since the 2019 season. That problem is it also kind of solves my question that I had the other day when I asked the question, why doesn't Danny Ainge get veterans? We're finding out that Brad Stevens can't coach veterans. You got to understand what a veteran's job is. A veteran player's job is to come in there and challenge the coach. A guy like Tristan Thompson, for instance, has won titles. He's going to challenge Brad Stevens. And it's looking like Brad does not like to be challenged. I remember Kyrie Irving saying something going into his second year with the Celtics, saying there's not much compromise in Brad Stevens' system. Now, these guys are both champions. Say what you want about them as players, but they are both champions. Jay Crowder, who's been to a finals now, but at that time, he played for us. And Al Horford also uttered kind of the same thing, where it's like, sometimes Brad will draw plays and you're like, are you sure this is gonna work? They question Brad. They were always unsure of what role they were gonna get. And Greg Monroe, who plays overseas now, said when he signed a deal with the Celtics in 2018, because of that injury exception that he got they ended up getting for Gabe Hayward being out. Monroe wasn't a bad player. Brad despised Monroe's game so much that he didn't even give Monroe a role on the team. It's like he felt that Danny signed him just as a body. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Brad does not really like veterans. He does not like veterans who have their own views and outlooks on things. He's not a guy that you sign a guy who is a role player, who's won everywhere. And he will never work with Brad Stevens because Brad Stevens likes to do things his way. Brad Stevens is a bit analytical. He does not look at the players as players, but as numbers. And does very little to motivate the players. There comes a point in time where you start realizing that the more and more you watch the Celtics team, the more and more you watch the offense, it's predictable. The more and more you watch the offense, the more you know there's no pecking order. The more and more you watch the offense, the more and more you never really understand who's going to play in a game. Javonte Green's been seeing 4-quarter time this year. Multiple games. Semi Ojeleye, who's actually been damn good for them, sees no 4-quarter time a lot of times. The only one thing he's probably done right is playing Peyton Pritchard a lot. But other than that, he's done nothing of any sorts of empowerment to the players. I feel like Brad does not want to empower players. Brad wants to empower his system, which is the problem I've always had with him. But now it's really making sense when I hear players that played for Brad. Players that played for Brad that were experienced players who won titles or were just experienced NBA vets who know how to win in this league. And they've basically gone out and said, and quote, this man does not really care for vets. This man does not give us any type of idea of what our role is on the team. He'll play us on a night and not play us the next night. And honestly, kind of does it to some of the young players too, but for the most part, it's always the older players. Tristan Thompson's been damn good for us. The idea that Tristan Thompson's not played good enough defense for Brad is Brad's problem, not Tristan's. The problem's really been Daniel Tice. Because when you put Daniel Tice and Thompson together, they don't click. But taking Thompson out the lineup is not the answer. Tice could give you 15 off the bench. Tice is pretty much automatic off the bench, so you don't really need to have him, quote unquote, in the lineup. Is it really that much of a need? But Brad has a tendency to just go what he thinks knows is going to work, and to completely, almost damn near abandons the players that do sign. He's playing Jeff Teague. Now, Jeff Teague's trash. But he's playing Jeff Teague really because he has no other choice. Peyton Pritchard would be playing had he been there. But even Jeff Teague, say what you want about him as a player, he's won in this league. And I guarantee you, Jeff Teague leaves, or he gets traded, or he gets waived, guess what's going to happen? I guarantee you, Jeff Teague's going to say the same thing those other vets said. He really didn't know what his role was. I signed here to be a veteran presence, and this dude undermined all the veteran things I was trying to teach players. Danny Ainge is the problem, and Brad Stevens is the problem. Those guys are too close. They are too much of a yes man combination to where they don't want to really get into what their flaws are. And it just seems like Danny's hell bent on proving that signing in 2013 for coach-wise was the best coaching job. Me personally, I give a coach 5 years. If the conference finals, as far as we're going to go by year 3, 4, and 5, and that's all we get to, you got to go. That's just me personally. Because you can't stunt their growth, especially right now. You understand how important it is for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to play. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have both played 61-plus playoff games. You understand? You're not even like Jaylen Brown's 24. Jason Tatum's 22 going on 23. You know how young they are to play 61 playoff games? We cannot have this mentality of, oh, we'll be all right. We'll be here to compete for the next 5 to 10 years. You know what team said the same thing? The Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what happened to them? They got dismantled. They eventually all went their separate ways because it just got to the point where they felt management wasn't doing what they needed to do to build a winner. They just wanted to cut corners on money, cut corners on finances, not pay veterans, not have any veterans there to really be a veteran presence. And eventually just got to a point where Harden left because they chose Ibaka over him, which is ridiculous. And then Durant left in 16. He was like, the hell with this, I'm out. And then Westbrook got traded a couple years later. Because they knew he couldn't win. He couldn't win there either. We cannot afford to have that happen to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It could happen. Right now, this team doesn't look very strong. We look like a first round out right now. I don't think we'll be a first round out by the end of the year, but we don't look very strong. And unfortunately, Danny Ainge made the sad mistake of not trading Gordon Hayward a year ago at the deadline, so he didn't have to deal with that trade with that $30 million hole they had to go get a trade exception for. to begin with. We already were in a $30 million hole with Al Horford's contract. Way to go, Danny. But anyway, just wanted to make this known. Gold Squad TV, subscribe, salute. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think has to happen here? Are you guys noticing the same things I'm noticing? I watch every Celtics game. So I watched every Celtics game since when Doc was coach. So even before that, Jim O'Brien was coach. Gold Squad TV, subscribe, salute.